Now for Global Business Updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus, and Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, Dr. Bati. Happy New Year, Ayo. Happy New Year, Rufai. Happy New Year.
Classic man.
All our viewers out there.
Rotus,
Happy
New Year.
Happy New Year.
This time last year,
elegance and power.
we knew what was happening. We thank God.
We do. Let's talk about taxes, right? So tax day, reforms taking effect, and can't go through everything. Recommended reading is the Gazettes, right? Do take. I'm looking at the gift portion. Very interesting section there on how to treat gifts. But we basically, there's no it takes effect, right? Low-income individuals below 800,000 a year are exempt. SMEs under a particular threshold, it was 25 million before, 50 million now exempt from company income tax. Company income tax will be coming down gradually over the years. Also, zero VAT exemption for certain foods, input VAT, education, rent, and the likes, right? Taiwo Idili, the chair of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform, had a very interesting interview where he said there's no taxman in the world that has the capacity to go after everyone. So therefore, if I have limited capacity, what do? I go after the highest yield, the easiest ones that I can get these funds from. We go on to his next part of this interview. He says the people fighting us the most are the people who don't have up to $1 million in their account. The NDIC has the Deposit Insurance Corporation saying that 98% of account holders in Nigeria don't have up to 500,000 naira. Those are not the people that are the focus of the taxes in terms of the increases. He continues and said that in one of our meetings, we said it's going to be hard for rich people to protest the tax reforms because they don't want people to know that they're rich. We underestimated how these guys can manipulate the average person to fight the fight on their behalf, even against their own interests. And then he said that there are content creators who admitted they make up to $10,000 a month. They don't want to pay the tax. Do you think they're going to create content saying government wants to tax the $10,000? No. They're going to say they want to debit your bank account so you can help them fight the reforms. Going back to what the president said when he finally addressed it, says the administration is aware of the public discourse surrounding the alleged changes to some of the provisions of the recently enacted tax law. All that we've discussed it ad nauseum on the show, right? And he says no substantial issue has been established that warrants a disruption of the reform process. Absolute, I'm going to come back to this part here at the end of this. Absolute trust is built over time. Very important comment there. Through making the right decisions, not the rough, or rather, not through premature reactive measures. So, Daniel, this is, I think, first time I'm commenting on this publicly, right? To what end? What is the logical conclusion of the alleged nefarious inclusions or discrepancies in these tax reforms? I know you guys remember Avengers Infinity War from 2018 when Thanos asked, I ask you, to what end? What's the logical conclusion? If we use budget padding as an example, this is probably going to come up with the 2026 budget, discrepancies between what is signed and then what is actually out there. There's two reasons why a lawmaker is going to pad a budget. One of them would probably be for altruism or benevolence. Oh my goodness, I need to help my constituencies. I only have 100 million allocated for this project. Let me put an extra 100 million there so I can deliver this project to them and help them. A borehole, a transformer, or whatever. Or corruption. They pad the budget, add an extra, pocket the extra, and the project never sees the light of day. So to what end, when we look at discrepancies in the budgets and illegal activities, we see the incentive for them to want to either pad their pockets or help their constituencies. When it comes to the discrepancies or the alleged discrepancies in this tax reform, what is the outcome? What's the logical conclusion? Because there's only three outcomes of a tax reform. Taxes are reduced for certain groups, they are increased for certain groups, or there's no change. Your average lawmaker in Nigeria is one of the highest income earners in the country. Their gross salary, they have that, and then they've got allowances, transport allowance, healthcare allowance, furniture allowance, travel allowance, car allowance. You take the monetary value of those allowances and add it to the gross salary, it comes pretty sizable. So what is the conclusion? If anything, if you go back to what Taiwo Oddiri said about the content creators making 10,000 that don't want to, that want to push other people to fight against the tax, the logical thing would be, if anything, your average lawmaker wants to reduce taxes, wants to bring them down so that they don't have to face them. Or is it that they are putting these things in there to raise taxes? That's what I think folks should be asking. And then here's the thing. For folks who are still have suspicions as to whether or not this will work or whether government is saying this, when you file your taxes, you will find out. Kehinde Kajeshoma, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, the deputy director of what was formerly the FIRS, is now the Nigeria Revenue Service. He was in a webinar last month, and he said this is referring to the SMEs that are under the 50 million turnover threshold who won't see an increase in company income tax. You still have to file your taxes, right? He says SMEs will undergo the process of computing their taxable profits, and they will file these returns with the tax authority. They will do every other thing, compute the taxes, but the tax they will pay will be zero. So you still have to compute tax. So at the end of the day, if we all want to find out whether everything the government has promised that is in this gazette that I encourage everybody to read, you will see it in your tax returns. In fact, that's the headline there, FIRS, small businesses exempted from tax must file annual returns. So you still have to get into the habit of filing your returns, and it is very simple. If we all want to see whether this is, in fact, what government is promising is true, your returns in 2026, compare that to deductions from 2025. If you're a salaried employee, you've got your gross salary, you make deductions and you get your net salary. Compare the deductions in this year to last year, and we'll see whether government is being factual or not. Not much to add. This day newspaper already has the Tony Elumelu, the Here's Energies deal, getting that 20% stake from M&P, the French company that invests in Africa and Latin America, Morel and Proms. 20% stake on Simpler Energy for 500 million. Tony Elumelu, of course, saying that this is, of course, part of indigenous players in the energy sector investing in Africa and Nigeria.
So a couple of things. I think and I have something very important to say. I just want to point this out. Good. I think the concerns are very valid, and I don't think it's right to just wash it away. When you look at it, the concerns about taxation. Number one, the first argument, let me quickly debunk it. Taiwo Dele said people that earn 800K a year will not be able to file taxes. Will not be taxed, right? Yeah. Do you know that you are taxing a level of absolute poverty? Let's do some calculation. The poorest of the poor live on $3 per day, right? Multiply $3 per day by 365. That's about 1,009 thereabout. Multiply that $1,009, $1,900 something, or $1,090 thereabout by the dollar rate. What will you get? You get about 1.6, 1.9 million. So the poorest of the poor gets on the taxation.
Wait, sorry, do that math again. No, the poorest Nigerians make under $2 a day.
$3 a day. Let's say $3 a day benchmark.
No, it's two.
Okay, $2 a day.
Yes.
Multiply $2 a day.
Times 30 days or what?
No, times 365.
Okay.
And now multiply it by the going rate of the exchange rate of the dollar.
What kind of, I don't understand the calculation. Why are you using a dollar rate for people who earn naira?
No, but that's the benchmark.
Sorry, no, wait.
It simplify
it's 800,000 naira.
Yes, not dollars.
Per annum comes back less than the minimum wage.
It's less than minimum wage. That's what it's so when you are saying that those on the lowest tax threshold will be covered and everything, no, it doesn't address the poor. In fact, the very poorest of the poor will be taxed because that 800,000 threshold does not even cut it.
It's too low.
It's too low. That's what we're saying. Do your calculation. If I just did that calculation,
I don't understand how you use dollars to calculate
rather than change the narrative.
I don't understand that.
What a lot of people are saying is the regulatory oversight that they're giving themselves too much powers for in this. And we must be able to see the harmonized law and combine it with the gazetted law. We all believe in taxation in this country. But we are saying, let's do it right. The math adds up just fine.
You are using dollars to calculate income in naira?
200. See, less than $2 or $3 per day threshold. That's what they say.
Why are you using dollars? Why are you using dollars?
Even beats what's it called threshold?
4 minutes.
Go ahead.
Your math is not working.
Rotus, keep quiet now.
Producer has been complaining for the past 4 minutes.
Yes.
Look, I have good news for you from China. In China now, they've increased VAT on condom to 13% and contraceptives. And the whole idea is to encourage bachelors to go and get wives and have more children. Please, do some research. Maybe it's something Nigeria too should recommend. Yes. So that all these bachelors around here that we want to marry off can go and get wives, including the producer who is saying, doctor, you should get married. This is your year of promise and achievement.
Speak it into existence.
Congratulations to her. So this, Mr. Elumelu just enlarged his footprint in the energy sector. Yes. And then Afrism was involved. AFC, African Finance Corporation, was involved. Thank you.
Thank you.